Well, the Socialists are seizing the means of the Democratic Party. AOC and Bernie Sanders are arguably the most popular stars in that dumpster fire, packing stadiums during their Fight Oligarchy tour. And last night, CNN rolled out the red carpet, pun fully intended, for the new leaders. And it wasn't good news for Chuck Schumer. Watch.
But are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
I mean,
All right.
no.
Let me jump in on this one. This is what
we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
This is what we're talking about.
You have a country that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system, and the media says, "Oh, you're going to run. What are you going to run for?" Nobody cares.
AOC wasn't done there. The Socialist star went on to make some bizarre claims about how Republicans are radicalizing young boys.
They are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them. And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature.
But there's another Marxist getting attention. Democratic socialist and frontrunner in the New York City mayoral race, Zohran Mamdani, sat down with Martha McCallum, and he doubled down on making everything free.
These are the most straightforward ways that we can actually fund universal childcare, making buses fast and free. And I've said that the two clear ways to do so, raising personal income taxes on the top 1% by 2%, and raising the corporate tax to match that of New Jersey's corporate tax of 11.5%.
What would you cut? What would you draw from to do it?
I don't think we have to cut.
Yeah, just add in more money. Greg, I want to go to AOC for a second with you, because her delineation of healthy masculinity, remember when it was just toxic? This is her way of saying, like, my boyfriend's okay, and these ones I choose are okay, but it's all about her parsing out words to, regardless, demonize all Republicans.
Well, the GOP did not radicalize Charlie Kirk's killer. We know who radicalized him, her side. So, and if they're trying to figure out why they were so-called co-opted or why they left her party, they need to ask, who said masculinity was toxic in the first place? Who was always portraying males as, potential rapists and or racists? Who said that fitness and meritocracy and achievement were somehow emblematic of white supremacy? This didn't come from us. Someone once said, I don't know who said this, the 3 words a woman loves to hear is "I love you." 2 words men want to hear is "thank you." The Democratic Party's 2 words were "get lost." And men don't like to be in places where they are not wanted, so they left. But it's an interesting problem for the Democrats, because their skill is in promising identity groups awesome stuff, but they can't do it with men. Is that weird? They could do it with, gays, male or female, trans, chicks, blacks, Hispanics, but they can't do it with men. There's nothing that they can promise. So do you think maybe the very strategy of their identitarian politics is what is turning off men, because men see it innately as unfair, where women see it as somehow compassionate, but the compassion is just being exploited. But men just look at this and go, this doesn't seem right to me. So maybe they have to ask themselves, what can we do to appeal to men? Is it even possible at this point? We can't rely on left-wing influencers like Hassan Piker because he electrocutes his dogs. But can you actually say, you know what, maybe we should look at Law and Order. Maybe we should think about not allowing people in based on preferences, no gaming of the sexes for fetishists, just really basic stuff. But if you don't do that, it's not going to happen. I think this is why Fetterman has a chance. Fetterman last night stood up and said some very refreshing things about how he loves Trump supporters. We have to stop demonizing these people that are our friends and everything. And he says, I'm tired of being part of the extremist party. He is almost like the J.K. Rowling for the Democrat Party. He is making the first move to harpoon a hoax. And if he does it, maybe other people will follow. But it seems like in the Democrat Party, they won't. They're already trying to get rid of him.
And I felt they strongly, Dana, pushed like class-based messaging, you know, in addition to the political party and the skin color tone. And then they criticized media framing. But everything that Greg said, all of that framing is just echoing what they are starting.
Yeah, so it's interesting because the two of them can fill a stadium, and they have a very active left-wing base, like the far left wing of the base. And those people will always turn out for them. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is in a district where it's Democrats plus 30. Okay, so she doesn't have to worry about appealing to anybody else. Now, if she decides to run statewide or nationally, we'll see what happens. But Bernie Sanders has never cared about what other Democrats have to go through. If you actually want to have Democrats who are winning in Trump-won districts, then you cannot have them have Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Mamdani as their North Stars. And if the idea is the way that Democrats succeed would be by pushing Fetterman out of their party, it means that they will, again, it's just the shrinking and shrinking of all of it. When Bill Hemmer gets up to do the board on midterm night, you know, it used to be even like 15 years ago, you would have, I don't know, 60 competitive districts. Do you know that there's a possibility there will be like 15 coming up? And it doesn't help anybody, and especially like you've seen what's happening in blue states and blue cities, especially when it comes to crime. And we've talked about this a little bit before too. Now, you could say maybe the opposite is true, except for all of those states that are red states, that's where everybody is moving to. So people aren't staying in New York. They're not staying in Vermont. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. I don't really know anything about Vermont. But they're leaving there because of the governance. Illinois is another good example. California is another example. So I think that they're misguided. I understand that they can pull a crowd. I like it that they are willing to engage, but I wish that they would do it outside of their bubble a little bit.
Yeah, and those of us who are stuck here, Jesse, I mean, I am horrified by Zohran Mamdani. I have been since minute one. But the interview with Martha, it really crystallized my fears. What he said and what he didn't say, especially along the lines of his blatant anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, anti-Zionism, anti-everything, I am frightened for the future of New York City.
Well, if you're going to make buses free, it's going to be like a crime wave on wheels. You can't let people with mental illness and predators and homeless drug addicts get onto a bus without paying anything. And then they're going to prey on you. And it's not like the subway where there's cops. You know, it's not like a subway where you can just walk off at the next stop every 30 seconds. You're trapped on a bus in a very tight situation. And so it's going to be mayhem. You can't have cashless bail and free bus fare. It's kind of simple. Now, the Bernie thing, the ratings came in, and they didn't even do 1 million on CNN. And for CNN, that's actually good to just come in under 1 million, but it's still no one cared. AOC was being groomed by Bernie Sanders, and she had to get bailed out for the whole hour. And that should not happen at a CNN town hall for a Democrat. That thing is like a bike with training wheels. It's designed so Democrats don't get hurt. But Bernie had to come in and hit the brakes a few times. If she does a Brett Baer, she'll fall harder than Kamala Harris. But it's good because she has to get her reps because everybody else in the party is really old. She's kind of like a first-round draft pick with a lot of talent, but the coach doesn't want to put her in because she might turn the ball over or break her shoulder. That's the risk you play. Now, AOC says the right exploited young men into insecure masculinity. They exploited young men to cut off their manhood. What's more insecure than cutting your manhood off? And the medical professionals did it for money. The feminists did it for revenge. The politicians did it for votes. And if you look at the flow charts, people identifying as trans is now dropping. Mental illness is now dropping. So hopefully this was just like a quick spike in insanity in this dark chapter of human history, and we're getting back to normal. Thank God.
Jessica, I want to give you the opportunity to respond to anything that we've talked about, but I would love to start out with your reaction on, the future mayor of New York saying that he has no opinion on Hamas other than justice and safety, which that terrorist group has no regard for either, and to ask if you are as frightened of his policies and anti-Semitism as I am.
I was definitely deeply disturbed by that answer. It was a layup.
because Hamas is not the Palestinian people. That's what everyone has been saying who is defending a two-state solution, who's accusing Israel of war crimes, et cetera, saying you're going after innocent Palestinians. And it should be the easiest thing in the world to say that a terror group should lay down their weapons. I was also bothered by the fact that he mentioned that the IDF had killed 5 Palestinians, but didn't mention that Hamas is standing on the streets of Gaza and shooting indiscriminately at people who they think maybe collaborated with Israel, or maybe they don't like the look of them. So that was an F on the report card, to say the least, or below an F, if that's possible. On the AOC front, people want to make it out as if she was flustered or unable to, gather her thoughts. She was frustrated that she was getting a question about a primary challenge when they were there to talk about the government shutdown and delivering health care for millions of Americans. And I thought that they made their case very strongly. They got one question in particular from a young man who said, the majority of people who need these ACA subsidies extended are Trump voters. It's 21 million of the 24 million, or live in Trump states. Why don't you just let them lose their health care? And Bernie and AOC made the case back. We want MAGA to have health care as much as we want Democrats to have health care. That's what it means to be an American and to care about the American people. And I think you could see very clearly the reason that anywhere between 10 and 15 percentage points more Americans blame the Republicans for the shutdown than the Democrats. On healthy masculinity, what they were talking about is like a toxic group chat, like those GOP operatives that was exposed in Politico, where you have what J.D. Vance wants to make it a kids group chat. You have operatives 18 to 40 years old, including a state senator from Vermont, saying things like, I love Hitler, or calling black people watermelon people, talking about gas chambers for political enemies.
Which one's running for AG?
I'm glad that you brought up the comp, because
Well, you brought that up.
Well, that's not a comp. It was the example. And then you use something that is
I don't
horrendous,
care
but
about,
it's not
I guess my point is, I don't care
But
about
you
some
should care about
kids.
it. They aren't just
You need
kids,
to
they
fix your
work in the
party.
but
Your
they are
party
the
is the
political party.
danger.
They
Your
are
party
the
is the one with these
Republican Party.
ideas.
Are you denying the fact that the kids to you, who could be 35 years old, are people who work in the Republican Party? Jay Jones doesn't have a text group, as far as I'm concerned, where everyone's saying, hey, what would be fun? Let's go kill Todd Gilbert.
You guys are actually killing people.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Killed Charlie Kirk.
And there you go again with you killed Charlie Kirk.
You
Just
young
deal
people on the left.
Listen, J.D. Vance with his, I'm not going to clutch my pearls about some kid's group chat. He should take a lesson out of Senator Mullen's book, who said, I would never let my kids talk like that.
Don't you understand that we can't be lectured by your side anymore?
But I also
we can't be lectured. That's where it's coming from.
Who might hear what I'm saying. I know you're not interested in it, but I'm saying there was a group text chain with tons of GOP operatives who are the future of the party, saying racist, disgusting crap, praising Hitler, talking about gas chambers, and you are saying no big deal.
Do you think? No. The reason why we don't take it seriously is because it always falls apart. I'm sure when we yes, it's always going to end up being like these people were like making bad, sick jokes. They didn't say they're going to kill somebody's children. You got to have the hierarchy correct before you come out with your righteousness.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.